You know, Michael Corleone got it completely wrong. All business is personal. You know, Eric calls up and says, let's play. I play. There's certain people in your life who call you up 4 o'clock in the morning and say, meet me on the corner of Avenue D and 4th Street and bring a handgun and a stolen car, a tarpaulin and some duct tape. You don't ask why, you just go.
Sex.
They're sitting around getting high and being filleted.
Drugs.
We were sort of ahead of the curve on the cocaine thing.
Rock and roll.
If you could play guitar like Jimi Hendrix, would you be in a kitchen?
And food.
It's forgivable to overcook this.
Today my guest, Anthony Bourdain. And everything is on the table. You know, my dream is to see Anthony Bourdain waking up in his pajama before coffee. I want to see him and see his face and see how he is. I have never seen that. He has never shown that yet. No matter where he is, no matter what he does, he's never uncomfortable. It's always fine. Ah, you made it. What's up? How you doing?
We're cooking lunch. We're not ordering out, and I have to say you're my second choice. I stopped over at Ina Gardens on the way over. She's always cooking meatloaf. Wasn't
Okay,
around.
so we have bread. This is a little bit built up by the heat.
Green pepper,
Oh, you peeled onion, that's cool.
garlic. We
That's
should,
what
you
have.
know, can you guess what we're gonna cook?
No. What is that? Chicken stock?
Octopus stock.
I'm
Perhaps
surprised. I
this will
thought
bring you to the general area of the world that we're talking about here.
What is it? Oh, cumin, right?
Yes.
Codfish, clams, and octopus. Surprising me. You know what? I was sure you would bring some meat. I thought he would come and cook some meat or some offals.
No, man, I'm all about the bounty of the sea.
Excellent. So we're going to start to cook?
This is a dish from my checkered past called Portuguese seafood stew, and I learned how to do this at a Portuguese fishing village. There was this one place called Cookie's Tap Room or Cookie's Pub. I mean, the place was a dive, and they made this
over there.
amazing, murky bowl of stuff that I just fell in love with, and I started hanging around there trying to figure out how to do it.
Let's go and let's cook.
Yeah.
He cooks rarely, and he's a very good cook. I trust that it's going to be good, and it's basically soul food that he's cooking today.
You know the whole thing about white wine and fish, it's a damnable lie. Red wine and fish is awesome.
I love red wine and
Right,
fish.
especially with octopus. One of the things I love about this dish is that it's really robust, that it's got an almost inky color.
Okay, so let's move on. We have our octopus. I don't know what you want me to do.
Let's pack that up like that.
I'm your sous chef, but you're the chef, you have to cook, man. You learned that when you were in college, basically.
Yeah, summers, hanging around in Provincetown, working as a dishwasher, as a fry cook. You know, it was all about go to the beach during the day.
And you were having a good
work.
time, and you were making some money and so on. But did you graduate first from college, or you
No,
didn't?
I was a miserable student.
He has a lot of experience with interviews.
I'm a memoirist. If you ask me questions about me, chances are I've been asked that question recently.
And he has a way of expressing himself that sometimes hides the real Anthony Bourdain that he is.
I covered my shyness with a megalomania and exhibitionism. Some might even call it psychotic behavior. I hated myself. I hated everybody else.
You are coming from a good family, right? I mean,
I grew up in like Leave It to Beaver, you know, it was suburbia. For whatever reason, I was an angry, maladjusted kid. I hated college, and this sort of outlaw, piratical attitude of the chefs appealed to me. If I showed up on time and I did a good job, I was rewarded. I had a real high opinion of myself at the time. I thought I was an experienced cook, and I shot my mouth off in front of a lot of more experienced and better cooks than me.
Yeah.
Basically, I got my ass kicked horribly and publicly, and I made a complete jackass out of myself in front of all of them. So really out of desire to avenge my humiliation, I went to the CIA.
You go to the CIA, and are you a good student?
Not only was I a pretty good student,
Yeah.
I was working weekends in New York.
So you graduate with honors. After going to such a great, prestigious school, you don't go to a fine dining restaurant.
People were overly impressed with my degree. Life was easy, and I went for the money.
When do you start to have problems with drugs?
Any illusions I had about being the next Paul Bocuse, chances are there were chemicals involved in that. From age 13 or 14 on, me and my friends defined ourselves by not just what records we were listening to, but what drugs we were doing, okay? So I arrived in college at age 17, like, where's the coke and the acid?
And that was already fashionable?
Now, we were sort of ahead of the curve on the cocaine thing. How spicy you want this?
For me, I like it spicy. I don't know for you.
If you want a flop sweat-inducing version, it'll take a heavy hit of, like, hot sauce, either Tabasco or the turkey.
So you're putting the cumin now, what, to toast it or to...
Yeah.
Okay.
And let's throw in our octopus.
The octopus in it.
And that'll cool down the pan considerably. Let's add some wine here. That's it? Yep. We can let that go for a little bit. In fact, we can even bring it down a little bit.
So you end up in Leal.
I hustled my way into chef's jobs very easily on the strength of a CIA degree and a couple of years kicking around New York. I ran a number of restaurants as a chef in a very sweet life, getting a lot of things that a young man traditionally likes. But among those things was, a serious drug habit. There's a finite period of time you could do that. And of course, in the end, it caught up with me. I went into rehab. Then I came out of it with no career and started all over again. Line cook, oyster shucker, brunch cook, a line production guy in cellar catering houses, working under fake names as a Napoleon Bourdain for a while. It was a complicated thing, but such was the life. I slowly crawled my way back up to, if not the top, at least a position of authority. Okay, I'm gonna throw some octo stock in there now. Go. Here's the thing about octopus, you cook it for a while and it gets tougher and tougher and tougher, and then it reaches this point where it finally starts to get really tender. It's forgivable to overcook this. I wouldn't worry too much about 15 minutes, half an hour here or there.
When I was looking at him taking ownership of the kitchen, he's not as precise as myself, but I trust that it's going to be good.
It was clear from the get-go, there shall be no competition between us by any metric. Eric's way up there, and I was very comfortably here. We can throw in the tomatoes now, actually.
The tomatoes now?
Just dump it right in there and give it a stir. In Kitchen Confidential, I jokingly said, as an example of my insignificance in the hierarchy of chefs, Eric Rupert will not be calling me up for recipe tips anytime soon. Cooking is hard. Writing.
Really? So you're a better writer than a cook?
Writing has brought me more rewards, let's put it that way. Listen, I was 44 years old when that book hit, so it was nice timing.
Did you feel relieved?
At first I thought I better keep my day job because this can't last. This can't possibly last. I can never actually make a living. Who gets to make a living writing?
TV Food Network came at you because of the book.
Yes.
So when you get the cook's tour, you have suddenly a presence on TV. And I remember a scene of you, I think is on that show, where you eat the heart of a cobra. They cut it open, give you the heart, it's like beating. You did that for what? For shock value?
I figured this is all going to end any minute. If I eat the live beating heart of a cobra, after it all goes wrong, I'll be sitting at a bar in a year and I'll be able to like coerce free drinks off the people by telling them the cobra story again. Say, hey buddy, let me tell you this story about the time I...
People like blood. I mean, the Romans were going to the circus and the Christians were eaten by the lion. They like exaggerated characters, and Anthony can be good at that. I find you very prolific in terms of like keeping busy, doing things all the time. Your mind never stops. I noticed that even today, I mean, I know you come back from the trip. I'm surprised to see you already tweeting, already writing. Do you let your mind rest a little bit sometimes?
Yeah, I do. I can pull a plug for a while. I'm pretty sure I'm capable of a vacation. I know how lucky I am. I just don't want to screw it up, man. Free time is bad for a person like me. You know, I shouldn't have a lot of free time.
But you don't.
Well, right, but I do that deliberately because if I had a lot of free time, I might revert to bad behaviors. You know, you get sleepy, get lazy, a little too much hammock time. Next thing you know, you're doing freebase like Charlie Sheen.
It's a fine line between the two Anthony Bourdains that we see. The Anthony we see today is the Anthony that I see all the time. On TV, he can show that in a bloody manner, in a sense, and be highly entertaining, and people could love that and laugh. You want to see my surprise?
Yeah.
Take the glasses and look what I have.
Oh, Lord.
I didn't tell you. Okay, we're gonna go.
You can't tell people about this stuff, man. It's too good. That is the most glorious bourbon on the face of the planet.
I think we have enough. You want an ice cube, a drop of water in it?
Possibly one ice cube helps it bloom a little bit. I
Okay.
think. One
One ice cube. Let me get it.
Some might find that a sin, but I think it helps.
Okay. One ice cube.
Oh, man.
And then you know what? The bottle is yours.
No way, dude.
Yeah, the bottle is yours. Seriously.
I'm pretty sure if there is a God, he wants us to drink this. Cheers.
To friendship. So, no reservations. From the season 1 until today, it has been, in my opinion, a great evolution.
If you're going to make TV, if you're going to do anything, it should be fun. I'm telling stories now. If you see it change over time, it's because you learn a few things along the way. You know, hopefully you get better, but you definitely change, whether you're cooking or whether you're telling stories or writing or anything else, your interests change, you change, hopefully you learn, and I think the show reflects that.
I don't want to interrupt Tony, but I think
Yeah, we'll give it a little stuff.
it starts to smell good and it
Yeah, we're
looks
ready
like
for the
it's
cod, I
really
think.
good. I think we're ready for the cod, right?
How are the potatoes?
They're getting there. Okay. It's a fine line between the two Anthony Bourdains that we see. He will be unbearable, probably homeless somewhere, angry, getting drunk all night and then going back on TV, but that doesn't exist in real life. And also, you know, he has matured. He has accumulated some wisdom through his experiences in life.
Well, I'm not the Green Hornet, you know? I mean,
are you a cranky guy? How do you wake up in the morning? And let's say before coffee and after coffee.
If I wake up first thing in the morning and I see my daughter first thing, I'm a happy guy.
Well, you don't see her much because you travel a lot.
Gee, thanks for pointing that out.
So
you're right, I'm a cranky, bitter
we'll
man.
take that out, guys. So you wake up, your daughter is there, you're happy. She's not there.
I'm at my smartest and most creative in the morning. As the day progresses, I get slower and stupider.
For meditation, you do meditation in the morning. For the ones who do meditation.
No, I don't
and so on,
meditate,
but
I fester.
What is fester?
Is sulking meditating?
You ruminate.
I'm ruminating. That would be a kind way.
Ruminating. Hey, I know that
Pondering
word. Let's see.
vengeance scenarios might be.
I'm excited. Look at the consistency.
Yeah.
The thickness cannot come only from the
I
potatoes.
told you, man,
I'm
this is some good
surprised.
stuff.
It's really good.
Let it sit overnight and then reheat tomorrow. It will be
It
so
will
much
be
better.
even better. You're back in America a lot. Thank God. You're still angry sometimes when someone is bullshitting. It's your nature. You cannot accept bullshit.
If you're abusing food that I love on TV, for instance, and lying about it and saying this is the way to do this, but in fact it's clearly not. If someone shows you it's perfectly okay after cooking the pasta to rinse it under cold water and hold this spaghetti till later, till your guests arrive, I'm angry now.
You're really, really upset about that?
It's killing me.
It's criminal.
It's almost criminal. It is not hard to do it the right way. In fact, it's easier to do it the right way and more fun to do it the right way.
Of course, yes.
There are plenty of reasons in this world we live in to take a shortcut. To save money, to try and save time. But it's those times when people just are begging you to murder a simple good thing, and then it's time to put on the cape.
Why do you get so mad at some of the people on TV? You go after them relentlessly.
I made
They
a
have a
living
lot of-
for years making
they
fun
have-
of poor Emerald.
You really go after them.
Maybe I'm having an internal argument with myself when I see somebody that's like, okay, you've already got the cookware and the crummy spice mix and the branded knives and the aprons. Do you really need like mattresses, all you can eat buffets, and a diabetes medication?
So we went to Bourdain. I mean, you brought Paula into the debate.
Maybe it's because it's an argument with myself. I'm saying, why can't I do that? Why can't I just endorse a whole bunch of cynical crap?
Is it a matter of integrity?
No, it's vanity on my part. I think I'm a sucker. At the end of the day, I will be crushed under the wheels of history, and they will go on selling their mattresses and their crummy spice mixes, and I will be a red smear on the highway of television.
On television, a show that it's purely entertaining and has nothing to do with the art of cooking, the passion of cooking, that irritates him a lot. So I was trying to understand why he's sometimes angry at certain programs and so on, without going into that guy, that woman is evil. And I think we did a pretty good job at that, although a couple of times the name of Paula came out.
All right, I think it's clam time.
Clam time? Okay.
Yeah. Let's see how many we got.
So that goes in our...
Okay.
Also, presentation is important.
Of course.
You like to go after the vegetarians.
You don't mind when you have a vegetarian come to your restaurant, right?
No,
You're
don't
fully
mind.
prepared to accommodate them.
In my house, I don't
Right,
mind either.
and in my house, not a problem.
I can cook spaghetti, pomodoro. It's vegetarian.
Actually, I'd like doing that.
Yes, of course.
Now, very late in life, I found myself fortunate enough to travel and see the world. And I've eaten a lot of things that have been among the most delicious and incredible of my life. And I've eaten a number of bad things. And I just feel that if you're going to somebody else's house, particularly in the developing world where they don't have a lot of food options, I think it's just simple good manners to display curiosity about the way people live and what they have to offer, and to accept what little, often, that they have to offer with an open heart and an open mind, in spite of your personal preferences. Here we go. Look at that color, right? I mean, it's...
That's it. Don't slice some bread.
This dish was made to be mopped with a crust of bread, you know, what the Italians call scarpetta at the end. You want to be dipping bread in there.
We started to cook, we were talking, drinking, we were having fun. Take the glasses and look what I have.
Oh, Lord.
I know he's very passionate about that bourbon.
That is the most glorious bourbon on the face of the planet.
We went to have our little glass of papi on the side.
Cheers.
By the time we were drunk, the stew was cooked and ready. Came back, drank a little bit more.
I'd recommend this with like a Vino Verde or a beer, a cold beer.
You know what? It's fucking good.
This is a delicious dish.
It's great. Let's talk about good and evil. That was your idea, to bring me on the road with you. You tried to make me look evil.
Well, it's an irresistible impulse. I'm supposed to be the prick on Top Chef. He's the one sending home that sweet, lovable Tiffany Derry for no good reason that I could see. It's like this, Eric. You're an old man now. You've lived a life. You've done many things, and you have stories to tell. So now you are up there on stage telling stories, and incredibly enough, you deliver a good dick joke.
Talk about it for a long time. So, the reservation is finished. Why did you decide to go from a network that gave you a lot of freedom, suddenly you end up on CNN?
Our show airs here, and then over the course of a few years, the program is bought by networks all around the world. Eventually, it's seen everywhere in the world, but
your show is
years later.
Already is
I like very much. It's very just personally satisfying to me is if we shoot a show in Malaysia, I like hearing back later from Malaysia and saying, hey, it's awesome that you found exactly the right locks-up place. I like to hear that we got it right in a country from the people who actually live there. This is really my only agenda. Who are these people? What do they eat? What do they like at the table? That's it. That's really as far as I want to go. CNN will mean that instead of waiting, we will simultaneously be seen all over the world. But most importantly, they are a worldwide news gathering operation. I am not a news gatherer, I'm not a reporter, I'm not a journalist. There are places in this world that we haven't been able to shoot because the infrastructure wasn't there. Libya, Gaza, West Bank.
You want to go to Gaza?
Yeah.
To the Gaza Strip?
Those places have been difficult. Before a tragedy occurs, as they always do in a faraway place, before we read about a disaster, it is useful to have seen something about who these people are and how they live.
ABC, Nigella, a show.
I can tell you that the set looks like, you know, at the end of the Bond film, it's like the giant secret lab, you know, with a tractor beam, right? It's like that. It's going to be a big primetime competitive cooking thing. I happen to think Nigella Lawson is strange and fabulous, and I think it could be not the two people you would imagine together in the same room.
She's definitely more sexy than you are.
I think we'll be interesting and fun together on TV.
Chefs today are considered like almost like rock stars. Maybe 30 years ago in France, you couldn't be more blue collar than a chef.
It was like a manufacturing job.
And now a lot of chefs became celebrity chefs.
But we know we're not rock stars. I mean, come on, if you could play guitar like Jimi Hendrix, would you be in a kitchen? Hell no. Chefs work all day from 9 o'clock in the morning doing the same thing again and again and again.
Yes.
Rock and roll stars, they maybe perform 2 to 3 hours a night, and the rest of the time they're sitting around getting high and being filleted. It's good, sure, but I mean...
They have to practice. They have to work, in my opinion.
If you trash your room at the Chateau Marmont, they're going to say, oh, it's just that crazy Eric again.
No, they're going to say
it's Tony.
It's Tony Bourdain who trashed his room again. Listen, cheers. Thanks so much for being in my kitchen.
Hey, it was my pleasure.
And cooking, actually, because I have rarely seen you cooking.
You know, we both have these dysfunctional, really busy lives where we don't have a lot of time to do presumably normal things. You know, Eric's a person who, if I'm traveling for 6 months and I don't see him, I don't have to explain. His life is nearly as fucked up as mine.
He's my best friend, and I think the fact that he travels so much give him a different perspective of life, and he thinks differently than he was thinking 20 years ago. He's a different man. Okay, Tony, thank you so much for coming and actually for cooking.
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it very much too. We had a great time. I would be honored if you could sign.
It's pretty awesome.
Now the knife, we want to see the knife. The way you, okay. That's it. That's the Bourdain signature. Okay, I do mine.
What the? Oh, it's cute. Bro hug, come on, bro hug.
Okay, fine. Let's get out of here.
Oh, you French
Okay.
guys.
So today, Tony was with me and it was a great pleasure. He's a friend of mine. I really wanted to catch a little bit of his real personality.
I don't
And so-
meditate,
but
I fester. I covered my shyness with a megalomania and exhibitionism. Some might even call it psychotic behavior.
I didn't expect Anthony to do some show-off kind of cooking.
This
over there.
amazing, murky bowl of stuff. It's forgivable to overcook.
I thought he would come and cook some meat, bistro-like kind of food. I have to say, I was delighted to see that he came with that octopus.
Man, I'm all about the bounty of the sea. As I have all throughout my career, I think today I benefited from low expectations.
He's a professional.
I'm not the Green Hornet, you know?
He has a lot of experience with interviews,
As an interview subject, I'm spoiled meat in a lot of ways.
and he has a way of expressing himself.
After a while, I mean, you're asking if the prostitute loves you. She will never love you.
He has this certain perspective about life.
I do not need to be adored. I'd much rather be like Meyer Lansky famous. No one knows what I look like, but I'm definitely getting a reservation at a restaurant if I want one.
That makes him the irreplaceable Anthony Bourdain.
You know, Michael Corleone got it completely wrong. All business is personal. You know, Eric calls up and says, let's play. I play. There's certain people in your life who call you up 4 o'clock in the morning and say, meet me on the corner of Avenue D and 4th Street and bring a handgun and a stolen car, a tarpaulin, and some duct tape. You don't ask why, you just go.
Wouldn't you like to quit your job and live the life you've always dreamed of? You're really living the dream, I would imagine, the expat dream.
I feel more free here than I do in the States.
This is it, man. This is the life. Join me, Savannah Jane Buffett, as I follow 2 buddies from college who quit their grueling office jobs and moved down to St. John to be bartenders in paradise. Now they're not just serving drinks, they've created the #1 microbrew in the Caribbean.
I looked out and there was about 30 cubicles. And at that moment, I said, I can't.
I knew I wanted to roll the dice and that I wanted to take a break from what I was doing. Nice place to live, don't you think?
Not bad.
It was a very surreal feeling because this is all new to me. This was going to be my new home. At that point, we knew we were all in.
They're the lucky guys, man. They make beer for a living on an island.
It's just 2 guys hanging out in the Caribbean and brewing some great beer and, living the dream, I guess.